Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Can
Good.
you hear me okay on my
Yes,
AirPods?
yes,
Okay.
yes, I can.
So they work great for most things, but sometimes they give this weird tunnely sort of thing. So
No, you're good. I'm in my apartment right now and it has really tall ceilings. So I'm also on headphones because it usually is a little echoey. So,
yeah, I don't know if you've experienced this, but with Zoom, I need to have my headphones in because if I don't, I'm like hyper focusing and I feel like I spend all this mental energy like, what did somebody just say? Yeah.
I know, right? It feels like a whole different space. So I completely hear that.
But this is my first Zoom today, so I'm not Zoom fatigued yet.
Oh, good. I love that. Well, I will warn you, I do have my dog on my lap, but I feel like he is snoozing away quite well. So, oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, we're on the same page. And if the male person comes or something, there probably will be barking.
Always warn my class. I do so much Zoom class right now that I'm like, honestly, it's yeah. So this is Waldo. He's my 1-year-old toddler right now.
Oh, what is it? What kind of is it? A pity?
Yeah, he's a pity something. I have no clue, but I love it.
Yeah, my Penny. This is Penny, and
Yeah.
she is also a pity.
Yeah.
She was a rescue, so kind of a mutt, but.
Right? And that's what I love. Yeah, we got him at 8 weeks and he's just been, it's crazy. He got legs and he's 90 pounds. And I'm like, I have no clue what you're mixed with, but I love it. Well, what a fun project that you're working on. So that's fun. I mean, this is just going out to your guys' customer base or this is going out to your employees? Remind me.
This is, going out to clients in email, blogs, social media. We have been working on our marketing calendar for the year, and Hannah, who manages all that stuff at the spa, we were talking a couple of weeks ago and said, goals, totally appropriate topic at this time of year. So, and I guess it could seem kind of weird, like a spa talking about goals, but I think there's a lot of stress wrapped up in goals or not achieving them, and it seems totally appropriate, I think.
Totally. Yeah. Well, and I thought a lot about it because I thought the same thing. I was thinking, interesting kind of connection between Zoom conversations and a service-based business, but I was processing it through and I thought, honestly, I think because of the connection you guys have with your clientele base and the fact that you've had some people for so long, really this kind of deeper connection is really probably going to be a draw for people. And especially right now with COVID, there's like this different reach point to individuals instead of just coming in for a service, saying goodbye, seeing them in a few months. So so it really clicked in my brain. I was like, this is a good idea. I like it.
Yeah, I have experienced that. I think in the COVID times, people yes, maybe don't have as much money to spend, but because of that, there is a different, maybe expectation is a strong word, but just a different way of interacting with a business. It's like, these are the limited funds I have to support my community with.
Right.
So I'm really going to pick carefully and go kind of all the way with that.
Yeah.
So it's been cool. Have you experienced that at Urban Therapeutic or?
Oh, so much. I think that, it's kind of interesting. The shift wasn't as severe as I thought, which I truly feel blessed with that. But I think that we've been kind of mapping it just out of sheer curiosity, and we see people more often in a weird way, but just way smaller purchases. And they're trying to connect with us in different ways. So we have a ton more social media interaction with people. Whereas I never really put a ton of time into it. I would post a picture, here's a cool product, but people are engaging in a whole different way. And it actually made curbside delivery and that kind of new phase for the shop happen so quickly. So I just feel like, people were really trying to interact with us all of a sudden in just all kinds of different ways. And now communication isn't just, okay, here's purchasing a product and send them on their way. Like, people are really wanting to hold deeper conversations and really be nurtured in a different way. So we're kind of expanding in this connection point where we're like, it's not so monetary based. Like, our decisions are really based on like, how is it going to make someone feel when they come in the door, instead of what's the price point and how quickly can we get them to spend up instead of in the middle, So it's curious, just humanity and the way that we're all interacting with each other and product and service. I'm just nerding out on it all, really.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't see other humans right now. They're doing the COVID thing, maybe they're interacting less, so they see another human in for a massage or to buy products, and they're like, a human, another human, yes, let's be here for a while.
Exactly. And just the odd interactions that we're having and the things that people are saying, we're finding so much enjoyment just in this, like, it almost feels like this baby phase of like social interaction where people are like, I'm so sorry I just said that weird thing. I haven't spoken to like a human outside of my family for a month. So we're having a lot of fun with it, but really the shop has been good. I mean, I think that it's taken some time to kind of like roll with the shift and like feel comfortable with it, but it's rolling, and it's like, okay, I mean, that's actually not as bad as I thought that experience was going to be. So like, okay, I can accept this.
Good.
Yeah.
So that's a good segue. What do you tell people what you do, who you are?
Yes. So thank you so much. So my name is Brenda Stebbeds. I am a massage therapist, a wellness educator, and a wellness retail shop owner here in Eugene. I have been doing massage for 13 years. I've been doing a lot of education. That's both pre-licensure for massage as well as wellness continuing education for about 6 years now. And this month we're celebrating 7 years of the shop being open. So
Awesome.
So Urban Therapeutic, downtown Eugene. It's been such a journey, learning experience. But it's been a wild ride. But just doing all of these things that kind of coexist. My career has really just been this journey of starting one thing and learning what needs are out there in this wellness community. And then I kind of tap into new things. So I call myself a wellness entrepreneur with massage and education and the shop. Those are kind of my three main things that I focus on right now.
That's a totally apt title. And we have, I mean, I think you were a boon to the community. We have a small, we're in that weird small city, not big enough for people to not know everyone. So I'm enjoying the phase that we're in currently.
I know. Like it feels small townish still, but at the same time, I'm like, wait, here's a bunch of people that I don't know. So it's actually it's growing in an exciting way. So I've quite enjoyed it. And Eugene is just such a uniquely vibrant community that there's always new things for me to interact with and do. So I love it.
So with your company, or it could be company values, personal values, how do you, when it comes to goals, how do your values as a person or values as a company play into how you set your goals, or what is important to you in a given year, month, week, whatever?
I think that I've been through, I've taken a lot of business education. I teach a lot of business education, hold these conversations about goals and writing business plans. And I used to have this like mile-long vision and mission statement. And really, when I look at it, I continually, my brain comes back to my personal mission, which is do no harm to anybody else. And when I was thinking about our conversation coming up today, I thought, I realize how much that affects the way that I decide what goals I'm going to do, what new things I'm going to accomplish, new projects I'm going to put out. Is really, and it kind of seems like a harsh statement to say, you know, I'm not going to choose a goal that harms somebody else. Like, of course, like, I'm generally in a softer toned industry where we're not doing a lot of like physically aggressive things.
No.
But when I think about like doing no harm out in the community, it allows me to ponder, okay, are these goals that I'm setting, are these projects that I'm going to do, especially if they're public related projects or products that I'm bringing in the shop, how does that affect other people? And especially because we're in a touch industry, it's been a really cool piece that helps me navigate, is this goal going to benefit me? Awesome. And is this goal going to benefit my community, and in what way? So I would say just kind of my core personal value has always been just do no harm to others. And so it's kind of just pieced down into my business. You know, how does every goal that I set, projects that I do, products that I bring in, service that I offer, how does that affect others? Because of course I can pick a bunch of things that selfishly benefit me, but how does that benefit my community in a positive way? And I've been able to really actually tick things off my list and say, you know, yeah, that would be amazing and that would feel great for me for a moment. But in the end, it's not going to positively benefit my environment. And so I'm going to like reprioritize what I'm going to do. And so it's allowed me to make other things top priority for sure.
And you can do both, should do both, need to do both, the me and the other.
Right.
And it's hard to get there because there's, in the business world, it can be money and growth and the bottom line. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, this like asceticism, like I will do anything at the cost of myself for the betterment of others. And it's a noble mission that burns people out, and you gotta have the balance of both.
Totally. And I think that's a big piece. You know, it's like I wasn't, even as a therapist, I wasn't receiving regular body work for a little while, and I felt that dip, you know. And then when I was like, is it selfish, you know, to take this time to say, open the shop an hour later so I can be receiving care for myself? And then I was like, no, this actually positively benefits my community, that I'm sane and I'm healthy and I'm happy. So yeah, like, yeah, I've really had some fun playing around with that. Like, how does my decision to take care of me positively affect those around me? And yes, now I receive my regular body care again, and it's amazing, and I love it. And I'm like, why have I ever fallen off that wagon? So yeah, keeping the balance.
To you, what makes a good goal? I think people sometimes hop into the I want to do this thing without really pausing to say, is this even a good goal? How do you craft that?
Gosh, when I think about it, of course I think of things in relation to business first, just because that's kind of where my brain is at. But I really value goals that challenge me. And whether that's challenged me in ability or challenged me in thought, or challenge my skill set, you know, I think that it reminds me of when I have a to-do list for the day and then I quickly add something onto it just so I can check it off. I was like, this wasn't on my list, but it feels really great to, pardon my giant beast in the back here.
No, it's okay.
It feels really great to, you know, add something quickly to my list just so I can feel amazing of you know, crossing it off really quickly. But in the end, I love having goals that challenge my brain, that say, okay, what about this long-term goal is going to create a different lens that I'm looking through, a different perspective, build something for myself. So I really love things that are going to be expansive instead of be super simple and say, well, if I write this on my list real quick, I'll get to check it off, which feels great. But I do love things that kind of create some expansive opportunity for myself.
Yeah, my my business coach has really drilled it into my head that
yeah.
the longer term goals really need to be things that you can't accomplish with your current skill set.
No.
Yeah, and we just had our annual planning meeting for the spa in January, and I realized looking at our 10-year goals, I'm like, we'll get there at a slow walk. Like, this is not, no, we need to like reinvent the wheel here. This isn't feeling inspiring or expansive or challenging. Like, we will just arrive at that, you know?
Exactly. And that's it. You know, it's just like writing something on the list. It's like, of course we'll get there, and that's great. And that'll feel amazing when we, you know, just keep moving in that direction.
Right.
But a goal, it's like you want to be inspired to learn something or challenge yourself a little bit and say, cool, now, you know, now how do I tackle this? And challenge for me is often what inspires my brain to motivate to like take the next step. So yeah.
It's a fine line between, and I think it's just experience, getting better at setting those long-term goals, because the pendulum sort of swings. You set this big, huge thing and it feels completely impossible. And on the opposite end, it feels like I can totally do that. And this is 10 years away. Maybe it needs to be a little more of a flex. And then you get better and better. And you're like, yes, this is inspiring. It's big. But I can see that seed of possibility. Like, I see it there.
Yes.
Exactly it. So with your values, the values component for you, when you set a goal, and you are feeling, you lose inspiration about it. Talk to me about that. What do you do when you've lost your way? It's not exciting anymore.
I instantly reach to my very trusted circle. So I call it my circle of people, because I am an introvert, and I have a circle of people that are both personally and professionally caretake for me, which is amazing. And I feel like when I feel uninspired or I'm feeling disconnected from a goal that I'm trying to reach, my trusted circle generally knows very much about where I'm headed. And I instantly ask someone to come in and take a look at it for me. You know, here's what I'm trying to do. Here's where I'm at. Why, you know, can you see something from outside the box that I'm not seeing inside my world? And 9 times out of 10, someone can pinpoint something like, wow, you're, you know, 90% of your time is spent over here, not goal related. I wonder if you spent even an extra day or an extra couple hours doing something towards this, that you'd be re-inspired. Or have you ever thought about, you know, sitting down for coffee with so-and-so? So instantly my initial try is bringing someone else in to take a quick look from outside the box. And oftentimes they'll see things that I did not.
Right. That is a big thing to learn. We all have blind spots, and some of them are glaringly obvious. And then when someone else looks, they're like, oh, yeah, that thing. You're like, oh, yeah. Yep, you're right.
I've been staring at this for weeks. What is the deal? Oh, yeah. So it's really, I mean, and it takes a lot of kind of willingness to be open to feedback, and that's taken me some time. I get ownership over my things, and I'm a self-employed individual, and I am for a reason. I love that lifestyle. And so it's taken me some time, but gosh, the value that I received from allowing someone into my world and to take a look around a little bit, man, it has solved a lot of you know, confusion and a lot of like ill motivation, and ill motivation has really caused then goals just to not be accomplished. So huge benefit.
It's letting someone in is hard, and also I really think it's the most connecting thing. We go around out in the world and we just see the tip of the iceberg with people, and we're like, oh, look at them, look what they're doing. And that's divisive to me when I come to someone and say, oh boy, I have really messed up here and I don't know what I'm doing. Because they will then say, I know what that's like. And if they don't say that, they are lying to you.
Right. Yeah. Right. And that's why I call it my trusted circle. It's like people that I really value their opinions. And then if they say, wow, your goal, are you sure that's a goal that is achievable or that you're really connected to? Then if they say feedback like that, then I can go back to the drawing board and say, okay, maybe I didn't take the right steps in developing my goal. And so it could send me back to the beginning. But having that outside feedback has been, essential for me, for sure.
I think a common thing at the beginning when people first start into this like goal world is and you mentioned this, that, oh, I could spend a little more time on this.
Yeah.
Where we tend to put our goals like in this other box. It's like, well, these are my goals, but this is what I'm doing with my day. Right. And they're like, no, they need to be the same thing if you want to get somewhere. And this has been a huge learning curve for me, that if I want to get there, what I'm doing in my day mostly needs to be those things, not at 6 p.m. when I'm home and eating dinner. Like, oh yeah, I need to work on my goals now that my work day is done. Like, no, let's flip the script here a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. And it's like, I think that goes back to doing something that challenges me, because it's, generally my day-to-day tasks are things that I know and I could do very easily and I could do very routinely. And so when I commit to making a goal, generally it's going to be something that's going to challenge my brain a little bit. And so I know that the second I start putting it off like that, and I'm like, okay, I'll do it tonight, I'll work on it this weekend, I know that's where that procrastination starts coming in. Just like when I fell off the wagon of not receiving my regular body work, I kept putting reminders, okay, I'll put a reminder to figure that out later, and it's like, what am I doing? And now that I get body work now like twice a month, I'm like, where was I at with that? Now I feel like I can't quite move on with my day until I know, where my appointments are going to be at for the month, so I can look forward to those things. So, gosh, I have to kind of clear my plate a little bit and say, okay, what, obviously I have to do day-to-day things. There's routine things that I need to accomplish. But again, it comes back to that balance. Where is that, portion of my day that I'm going to put time and energy into this? Otherwise, maybe it shouldn't be a goal that I'm working to achieve.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you build that into your day? Like, do you have a routine, like nuts and bolts, monthly, weekly, daily? What does that look like?
So I would say I do my planning on a weekly basis generally. I would like to say I do it on a daily basis, but honestly, generally on the weekends, my lifestyle slows a little bit, which is amazing, and I'm able to have a little extra time to myself. And so I usually sit down and map it out. So my left brain loves writing out things, loves structuring things. And I've probably used every app and tool and feature and cool thing. And in the end, just a good old pen and paper is an amazing tool. Exactly.
I always come back to it.
Right.
Like, I want the tech thing. Like, I want there to be this thing. And in the business world, sometimes you need it digital and accessible by multiple people, and it's just kind of a requirement. But I always come back to pen and paper. Always, always, always. It's like I fought it so long, and I'm like, just do it. You like it. Don't just do it. You like the paper.
Exactly. I have tried to force myself. I'm like, I'm positive this app will just, turn these things into magical beings. No. So every time, pen and paper, and it starts to look like a map. What are things that I have to accomplish this week? Then where are those gaps? And all of a sudden it just looks like a picture. It's like, whoa, okay, so like here's some amazing times where I will have the ability to sit down and really dive into this project. So once I see where kind of those gaps are and how I can shift things around for that balance of my week, then I start to plug in, okay, so here's kind of how many hours that I'm able to put into this week. and here's kind of the next steps that I'm wanting to accomplish. If I don't really see large gaps available for me to put in time, then there's that kind of rewriting process. Like, okay, wow, am I overloading my week? What's happening? And oftentimes, I'll say, okay, maybe I need to move some appointments. Why did I overschedule myself on a certain day when I know that I need to put in some time here? So doing that on the weekends, for me at least, allows me to kind of shift some things around before I literally start into my week and doing and being in it. So, and then I go back to that map. I've used, I really like this product. It's literally called day cards. They're like 3x5 note cards that have some lines on them. And it's like, what do you want to do today? What are your goals? And so I used to, back when I really was juggling so many tasks pre-COVID, I would write out a day card for each day. And then it seemed so simple. I'm just picking up this one card, this one piece of the map. And then I really stuck to my time frame. So I would say weekly mapping is a huge, tool for me. Pen and paper, huge tools. And just thinking it out. And I see things structurally in a left brain way, but that map concept allows me to almost see it as an art project. It's like, okay, wow, here's these spatial times that I get to dive into that. And then I actually get excited. Wow, I've set aside 2 or 3 hours to do this project, to take this class, to take the next step. And so generally I get excited before the week even begins for those times upcoming.
Right. I had this weird arc where, and I realize not everyone is, their concept of a weekend is maybe not the same, but whatever that time is, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. But on Sunday midday, start getting like that, what's in store for the week, and then there's a little bit of anxiety about all the things I need to get done, but then I come back to the mapping and lay it all out, and there is it's excitement, ease, I guess, of just sort of seeing it all out there. I'm like, oh, okay, out of the brain, it's on the paper. I kind of know what's happening this week. And I look forward to that.
And again, that's what brings us back to that motivational piece. I almost feel like subconsciously when our brain connects that we've now set aside this time, okay, so like, I'm allowing myself to now stay inspired and stay thinking about it a little bit more, instead of that anxiety piece that it gets stuck and saying, okay, am I going to have time to work on it? When am I going to do it? And you almost get overwhelmed and you want to then just put it in a box. So pen and paper mapping, ideal, nuts and bolts.
So in a given week, say, or month, something comes up, and things devolve, or something inevitable comes up, you need to make a new plan. How do you, I think that is a really critical skill that derails people. They're like, oh, this isn't looking like I thought. Now what?
I think there's a huge piece to reevaluation, and this is both personal and professional. It could be me receiving 2 massages a month because I love it so much, and then all of a sudden maybe my funds aren't available to spend on 2 and I need to go down to 1. It could be I really had a goal of opening the shop 7 days a week, and COVID hits, and now I'm open no days a week, and so literally it's this reevaluation process that says, okay, what are the external factors that are in the environment of my goal that maybe I cannot change, and I see no problem with the steps along the way to accomplishing a goal. That's actually one of my favorite parts about achieving goals. What are these little things that happened in between here and here that I didn't think were going to happen and I really learned from? I don't see those as failures. I see that as like, wow, here is a huge ability to learn. Do I prioritize my 2 massages a month over my Netflix subscription, or over, am I going to reprioritize because I don't have enough funds? Or am I going to say, I'll go down to once a month, but how do I find the same value in something that's free, that fills that other space that I really loved? You know, is it a yoga class online, or what other self-care tool am I going to put in? So I actually see that same spark of challenge as to why I set the goal in the beginning, as those little pieces in between to say, okay, so this is a curious problem. Now, what am I going to do? And so most of the time, I find that to actually be interestingly curious and fun, to reevaluate and shift a little bit. And then once I've accomplished the goal in the end, I'm like, wow, like look at everything I did and learned and all these new tools that I have. Or, you know, I actually love yoga and massage. So instead of doing massage twice a month, I'm going to do now these two things, you know, massage and a yoga class online. Or, you know, so it still creates that expansive ability around this goal, and you've learned so many more things along the way.
Yeah, kind of unrelated, but you saying, well, what if I don't have the funds and I need to go down to once a month? I found that reframing something can help so much. Like, I have a crazy day, and the end of the day, something simple as like washing my face, doing some skincare at the end of the day. It takes 3 minutes, but viewing it as a thing to get through versus taking a moment and saying, oh, I'm doing this for myself.
Right. Yeah.
And then it becomes this thing that fills you up instead of yet another thing to do. So being able to see something, oh, this isn't looking exactly like I thought, and simply reframing the way you're thinking about it energetically, just like, oh, we're good. We're good. I'm okay here.
Well, and then all of a sudden it hits you like, wow, my goal was, you know, self-care in a specific way by the end of the year or each month. And then you realize, wow, I've actually been really taking good care of myself and not recognizing that just these moments where I'm washing my face or I'm just taking time with myself, that's self-care. And all of a sudden that's that expansive piece where you're like, whoa, my lens is just widened a little bit. And now what does that look like? You know, maybe you reprioritize or rewrite the goal, or you're going to look at what steps you're going to take now to accomplish it. But yeah, I think it's just, again, this expansive ability to say, okay, here's this other piece that I learned, and now I actually really enjoy facials, and maybe I'm going to explore that instead of this piece over here. So yeah,
it's yes. The man must be coming, because there's a FedEx Express in the dog. Well, end with one thing. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but if you have just like one takeaway, because I think it really, no one absorbs everything.
Right.
But if someone, at least how I work is I take in things and like one thing works, like leave the rest. This one thing works for me, maybe in a whole book.
Yeah.
So what is that? What would you leave someone with?
I would actually say recognizing that goals are unique to each individual person. I think this is something that I've really learned, and maybe being in the teacher role, I've learned this a lot through my students. You know, pre-licensure massage students, I could have someone that's 18, I could have someone that's 65 sitting in the same classroom, learning the same content. The goal of achieving their massage license, the goal of achieving opening a retail store, you know, you and I could have the exact same goal and take 2 years and 2 months to achieve the same thing. And so I've learned, oh my God, you know, goals are so unique to the person that's creating them. Don't compare. Don't look over here and say, whoa, you know, that person just took 6 months to get their license. I'm taking 3 years. You know, like, enjoy the journey of goal setting and goal achieving in your own world, like in your own space. Like, you have the power to choose. You have, you know, you're the only one that knows you best and your environment and the tools and resources you have. So really, like, enjoy that uniqueness that you have, even if it's a goal that's so similar to the person sitting right next to you. And that's really, again, that like motivation and inspiration. Like, how does this affect my life? How does this play into the way that I want to interact with the world? And then really it brings that individuality to what you're doing.
Yeah. Comparison is the root of unhappiness.
It really is. Yes. Yeah, it's like if you can really thrive by just sitting with it and saying, you know, yeah, I'm going to take 3 years to do this because that's my goal. Like my goal is to take time and read and work at the same time or do this other thing simultaneously. Yes, like lift that up, do that.
Right. And just again, that shift in perspective, see like the same thing is occurring, but looking at it as, oh, I'm doing this purposely. I'm really going to soak it in. I'm taking the 3 years versus like, oh, 3 years. I'm terrible. Look at this other person. Like just that little dynamic shift to it.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
Okay, well, I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you, Brenda.
Of course, you are so very welcome. Well, amazing project. I love it. Of course, my business brain's like goal setting. Yes, let's talk about it. But yes, thank you so much and for holding these conversations. I think it's great. So I appreciate having you in my community as well.
Okay, thanks, Brenda. Have a good day.
Thanks, Sean. You too.
Right.
Bye.